All right, and we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris. Welcome to my channel, Barnon 11970. I hope you are all having a great day, and this is going to be another inspirational type video, and I hope this will help people out in this world, especially if you are resonating with this just by the title and you're going through a lot. Hopefully what I talk about will help you maybe see things from a better perspective, and maybe it'll help you get right back on the track again, or just to feel better, because that's what I want my channel to be about. It's not only learning, it's also growing and seeing things in different perspectives. And if we can do that, we have a chance to really grow in this world. So this is a late night live show. It's 3:46 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Aloha to Germs. Interesting choice for a name. But this is the 17th of November, 2017. And I want to talk about something that happened a little bit earlier today. And I always believe things happen for a reason. And if you can learn from them, sometimes good things can happen. And if somebody benefits from this, that will be a direct proof of that. And it took me a while to want to make this video because I had a hard day myself. And sometimes you just got to process things and know that everything's going to be okay in the long run. It's up to you to be able to get through difficult times. Now, I was having a conversation with an employee, not really an employee because I rent space at a salon, but one of the people that works there. And they were talking about how people take advantage of them, not in a physical way, but basically you ever have it where really good people who care a lot about people have people enter their lives and they take advantage of them. They take advantage of you, or they hurt you or betray you. And people that are good-natured really tend to ask the question, why does that always have to happen? And this is one of the things I've drawn a conclusion to about this, because I'm one of those people, and I've had many people betray my trust. Many people stab me in the back. Many people use me, and when they got what they wanted, they moved on in a very careless kind of way, a very, not even like expecting thank yous, but to just disappear without a reason why. I've had many people, and I'm sure people that watch this probably have had those situations. And a lot of people tend to ask the questions why, and they beat themselves up. And I'm going to hopefully help you to think in a better way, and maybe it will help improve you even just a little bit, because every little bit matters. Now, the biggest thing I want to tell people that are very caring, the ones that will go out of their way to help people, the ones that just won't walk by when there's a person in need, the people who are the shoulders to cry on, and the friends that are the first ones there to help out when they can, the ones who will cry when they see somebody hurting and in pain, the ones that will save animals when they can. My belief, and this is just my belief, is when you're a very caring person, you are truly a strong person. And if you know anything about my channel, I've talked on several occasions that this world is filled with electricity and magnetism. And the world tries to teach you to pay attention to only things that you could see. In other words, they teach you seeing is believing. And that's why I've done the experiment when I tell people, you know, the glass is half empty or the glass is half full. Either one is wrong, because the glass is completely full, because it's half full with water and half full with air. But they don't have you ever think about the part that you can't see. They only want you to focus on what you can see. So, since we are energetic beings, a person that's caring is going to give off, almost think of it like your heart is like a radio channel, a radio station, a radio beacon, a radio antenna, and it's sending out a message. Now, you see plenty of radio antennas wherever you are, or cell phone towers. You don't see energy emitting from them, but it's there. It's just on a frequency that your physical being cannot see. But that doesn't mean that there's nothing going on. Look at a microwave. You don't see the product that you put in the microwave being cooked, but yet it's happening. So we need to stop thinking about life as only what we see. So if you see it in a perspective of energy coming from you as a person who cares, it's almost like sending out a beacon to all those who need assistance. And the magnetism draws them to you. So even if they weren't planning on coming to you, you ever wonder why, if you're a very caring person, so many people get drawn to you? And I'm sure in your life, and I've heard this, people have said that to me, where it's like I almost feel like I was, I had to talk to you. Even if you were a stranger, you seemed like somebody I can confide in. And people count on you. The reason I think it is the fact that one of the biggest things about us caring people is we absorb a lot of other people's pain. Now, by absorption, I mean if you're solving people's problems, if you're helping people, you're basically taking their energy, and we tend to store it. Now, like any virus in your body, too much of a virus will overwhelm you. So I want to say, first off, there is nothing wrong with helping people. There is nothing wrong with wanting to take people's energies, even if it's subconsciously. In other words, somebody has negative energy they can't handle because they're not strong enough. And you're strong enough to be able to handle this person's energy, that person's energy. And I'm talking about the negative energy. And you say subconsciously, bring it to me, I can handle it. Well, the first thing I want to explain to people is just because you are kind enough to take somebody else's negativity does not mean you have to keep it with you forever. Think of absorbing somebody else's negative energy like you collecting garbage. No one is ever afraid to throw out garbage. We tend to absorb things. We tend to think that it's our duty to help the world and attract all of this negativity because we all say, oh, we're strong, we can handle it. But it overwhelms you, and that's why you might feel depressed. That's why you might feel lonely. That's why you might even feel suicidal and things of that nature. It's because it's bottling up inside you. So I want you to reprogram yourself to think that it's okay to help people, but you don't have to hold on to it. And again, this is on a subconscious level. Because you're not sitting there when somebody, just let's say somebody broke up with somebody and they call you or come to your house because they know that you're reliable and you'll be there for a shoulder to cry on. You'll help them feel better. It's not like you're saying, you know what, I'm going to take that person's energy. It just happens naturally. The magnetism in you draws in their negativity because they may not be strong enough or even aware of the fact that they can help themselves. And you do it for them. One of the things I learned, one of the first things in massage school, was after you do a massage, and if anybody's a massage therapist, they should know that, right after when the massage is done, you take your hands and kind of flick them outwards. In other words, you're taking their negative energy and throwing it basically into the universe. Now, I know this sounds very new age, very stuff like that. But if you know about your chi, if you know about your energy, it is there, whether you see it or not, whether you believe in it or not. And belief, when it comes to truth, is irrelevant. Now, I want you to think about one of the biggest questions in the world. Why are we here? It's a big question that so many seem to not be able to answer. And we may never get a complete, definitive answer of what that is. But what if one of the reasons why we're here is not to just spend our lives slaving to make fiat dollars so companies and corporations can become wealthy, but maybe we're here to learn something. Now, if you were in school, let's say you have a lot of money and let's say you're very strong. So you could be a bully, but you can also pay people. And let's say from day one of kindergarten through high school, you never once did your homework. You never once studied. And you either paid people to do your work for you, Or you threatened people. In other words, you threatened the teachers that if they ever mention or say anything about you having other people do your work for you, you'll hurt them. So let's say you get away with that your entire school career, from kindergarten to high school. You never did an ounce of work. You always had other people doing things for you. Now, that may seem like that's a great thing for that person, because they'll say, well, I never had to do any homework. I always had people doing it for me. Well, how smart do you think that individual will be when they had everybody doing the learning lessons that person was there to learn themselves? Do you think in the long run that's going to benefit that person? Do you think they will become a better person having other people do the work for them? So I want you to think about this, and this may change the way you think. If you're one of those people that really cares about people and you just feel pain all the time, or you feel deserted, or you feel betrayed from people who stabbed you in the back, or lied to you, or just walked away, or whatever, is just imagine if your purpose in life is to learn something while you're here. And people that rely on others, well, they never learn that lesson. And you think of it as you getting extra credit. Now, just imagine how strong you have to be if you were not only learning what you have to learn, but now you're doing the work for other people. You're doing this other person's homework, and you're doing this person's, oral report, and you're doing this person's book reading. Now, I'm talking on a spiritual level where you have to deal with your own life. You have to deal with your own problems. You have to deal with your own pains. But then, not only are you handling those, even if it's a struggle, you're helping your friends, you're helping your family, you're helping a stranger, you're helping an animal. You're taking in all of these other energies from people saying, I am not strong enough to do it on my own. I need somebody else to do it for me. Now, just think about how powerful a person and how strong a person that you have to be to not only handle your own stuff, but now taking on a whole slew of others who basically will say, spiritually, here is my negative garbage. I don't want it. I can't handle it. It's now yours. And they walk away. Because if you said that you have the cure for cancer, and your cure for cancer is you could somehow magically suck out the cancer out of somebody and absorb it into your body, you don't think there would be thousands of people lined up ready to give you their cancer? Of course they would. That doesn't necessarily mean they're evil. What it means is, instead of them coming to this world, coming to this plane of existence, to learn what they needed to learn, they decided to pass it on to someone else. And who do they pass it on to? Well, you're not going to pass something on to somebody who can't help you. You're not going to pass it on to somebody who's weaker than you, even if they might appear that on a physical level. I'm not talking about your physical level. I'm talking about your spiritual level. Your magnetism. Because you can only draw in what you can handle, even if your physical mind tells you it's too much. You'll know when it's too much, because a car, you know when it overheats. But just because the engine's revving really loud does not mean the engine cannot handle what you're doing to it. Unless, of course, you don't take care of it properly. So you have to think more about just your physical being. Your heart's going to hurt from time to time. Your brain is going to feel like it's spinning around in a whirlpool uncontrollably. You're going to feel overwhelmed. But yet you still stand. Even if you shed a tear, even if you have the shakes, even if you feel really bad one day. Because you're taking on the responsibility of not only your emotional problems, your discoveries, your learning, your wisdom, but you're handling everybody else's. So is it any wonder that this world is all about other people wanting to do for you? And the strongest people do things for themselves, not because it's easier, because it certainly isn't, but because that's what needs to be done to learn, to create wisdom. You do not create wisdom by somebody else doing the work for you. Wisdom is through experience. How do you get experience if you are allowing somebody else to do the work for you? And on that note, how much more experience will you gain by doing everybody else's work, even on a subconscious level? So I want you to think about how strong you have to be that caring, that you would be willing to take on other people's stuff, even if you say every day, oh, this is too much for me to handle. Well, you're still breathing, aren't you? You're still able to function, even though it's overwhelming. The reason why it overwhelms you is you forgot that you have the power to not only absorb that negative energy, but push it away and say, here, God, or here, universe, take it from here. But I want you to think about, like what I said, the purpose of life is for you to be here to learn something. So just imagine you're getting extra credit because not only are you learning whatever learning lesson you came here for, but you're now learning things from other people because they were too weak or too scared or too lazy to do it themselves. So just imagine if you're in school as a kindergartner. While most people are learning how to finger paint, now all of a sudden you're learning to finger paint, you're doing somebody else's laundry, this person wants you to do their calculus work, you're learning all of these things on a higher level. So by the time you get out of high school in the lessons of life, they're still finger painting. Well, you've learned multiple times the amount of what you originally came here for. The problem is, caring people feel sorry for themselves because they don't realize, and you need realize to realize, how powerful they truly are, because anything worth having tends to be a challenge. So the next time you feel bad, the next time you feel overwhelmed, the next time you feel weak, I want you to think about all the things in your life that you're dealing with. And how many people would run away from them? How many people would ignore them? How many people would pass them on to someone else or pay somebody else to do the work? Because if you wanted to become physically strong, paying somebody else to exercise for you makes them strong, not you. Threatening somebody to do the work for you makes them strong, not you. And if you see life in that way, that you came here to learn something, and you cared enough to say, you know what, I think and this is all subconsciously, that I can handle more than just the prime directive of why I came here to learn something. I'm going to learn from this person, I'm going to learn from this person, they're going to overwhelm me, but it never overwhelms me. So don't ever say you are too weak or you can't handle it, because it's easy to dump somebody's problems on someone else or pay somebody else to do the work. You will never gain experience when you have other people doing for you. And as you can see, when it comes to corporations, when it comes to governments, they want to take care of you. They want to do the work for you. And the strongest people are the ones that say, you know what, it might be easier, but it's not what I want. I can handle it all. And that takes true power. And again, it's on a subconscious level. It is all about you emitting a magnetic field that attracts the very things that come to you. So don't ever question why something is coming to you. Question what can you learn from it, because you brought it to you, whether you understand that or not. And if it's negative, it's because somebody else couldn't handle it because they were not strong enough. But you can, because you wouldn't have attracted something to yourself you can't handle. And if anything I said in here makes you feel like a tingling in your heart, or makes you smile for a second, or makes you say, you know what, that makes sense, that resonates with me, then guess what? You are now not just thinking, you are feeling. Stop listening to your brain, which is nothing more than an antenna, and listen to your heart, which is all about being a generator. That is why when you want something bad enough, you put your heart into it. And the problem in this world, for most people, is they don't listen to their heart. They don't trust their instincts. They let other people dictate their own lives because these things sound weird, because you can't see feelings, can you? Well, let me ask you something. When it comes to jealousy or love or vanity or any of the emotions we experience, can anyone point out what specific body part secretes love or jealousy or anger, boredom? And yet, even though there is not a physical thing, you can't draw love on a piece of paper. You can draw a heart, or you could write the word love, but that's not what it is. So technically it doesn't exist, but yet you still feel it. So not everything can say, okay, here's a cookie. This is what a cookie looks like. So when you see this round thing, you know it's a cookie. There are many things in this universe that you can't see nor will ever see, and maybe you don't need to see, because that's why they say things like, I once was blind, but now I see. It is not all about what presents itself right in front of you. Because I'm sure somebody is listening to this on a wireless tablet, or a wireless cell phone, or a Bluetooth, or a wireless laptop. And yet the information is coming to you. It's all around you, all around the air. But you can't see it. And the world wants to teach you that seeing is believing. And that's why old science says, look up at the sky, and all that blackness, according to the science that they're trying to teach us, they're trying to let you know that nothing's there. That's an empty vacuum. And that is the furthest from the truth. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, the next time you feel sad because somebody stabbed you in the back, be proud that you not only were able to handle your own problems in your own energy, but you took on theirs as well. And you cared about an animal, or you cared about a friend, or you cared about a stranger you may never meet because you saw somebody suffering on a television program or a YouTube video. Don't ever feel bad that you care. That's a proud thing. Even if the world mocks you for it or laughs at you for it, do you think I give a damn about anybody that hates me for what I'm saying right now, or laughs at me for what I'm saying, or doesn't believe what I'm saying? Do you think that will change my ideals one bit? Do you think it's going to change how proud I am to know how strong I have to be, to not only feel bad from time to time, but turn it around and turn it into something good, where it could help others at the speed of light? That is why when you finally get it, what are you? You're enlightened. It's all in the words. So it's okay to hurt. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. But don't beat yourself up. And think about how powerful you have to be, how strong you have to be to absorb everybody else's negativity. Because when you walk by a person, you're affecting them. Ever been in a room where somebody's sad and you just feel sad? Ever been into a movie where you're kind of addicted to other people's laughter and you start laughing because they are? It's because we emit energy that you cannot see. And most people, because they can't see it, don't ever associate the connection. We are all connected. We are all wireless connections, all connected to the same source. So that same source can view everything simultaneously through your eyes. So be proud of what you are willing to do, because many people have no problem walking away or not helping or not caring or just basically having other people do the work for them. And that is why when you think about governments, they supposedly have everything, don't they? They have the fame. They have the money. They can get all the girls or guys they want. They don't have to worry about bills. They could buy their own friends. They can have any vehicle they want, and yet they still need more. They still need to take from you. They still need other people to do things for them. Is that what you would want to be? I highly doubt any of you would want that. And if that's the case of how they feel, if that doesn't tell you that that's not true power, that's true fear, true laziness. They'll never learn a thing when they're forcing other people or bribing other people to do their work for them. What are they learning? And if it was everything in the world, if they had everything in the world, then why would you need more? Why would you not want everybody else to follow along with you? Why do you need to take from others or prevent them from ever reaching the stars? These are things we need to think about. And these are things that most people cannot think about on their own, because the world is programming you to feel insignificant. To feel like if you don't have the best clothes, if you don't drive the best car, if you don't have 50 million subscribers on a YouTube channel, then you mean nothing. What a load of crap. We are all human beings. We are all the same. We all come from the same source. So why one person would want to hurt another extension of themselves is kind of silly if you think about it. And yet, many do it. But I wouldn't want to be them. And I know a lot of you wouldn't either. I feel sorry for the bullies. I feel sorry for the people that would, when somebody's reaching their hand out asking for help, to just walk away or make them feel inferior. There is none of you that are common. None of you are inferior. You're just a different piece of the singularity. Because if we were all the same, there would be no reason for more than one, would there? Why do you think people are supposed to be different? And this whole world these days is everybody trying to get you to think like everybody else, to say what everybody else says, to be what everybody else says. Well, what would be the purpose of being here if everybody did the same thing? How many refrigerators do you need in your house? You need 100 refrigerators all doing the same thing? Just imagine if you woke up tomorrow and you walk into the kitchen and it's filled with refrigerators. What are you going to use? They're going to be wasteful. You don't need them. So how special would they be? What would you do with 1,000 cell phones when you only need one to do the job? So be happy you're different. Be happy you see things in a different way. Don't let others make you conform to what they're doing, because that's true weakness. Weak people need other people to gain strength that one strong person can gather on their own. Is it any wonder why very caring people tend to be very solitary, tend to be alone? It's because they only can handle their own energy, and they can handle everybody else's energy, But they don't need them around. They don't need that energy, but they'll take it on. So I want people to think about how they feel in a different way. And if you're still sad, well, you better find a way to get happy, because only you can do it. Because if you rely on other people to make you happy, you will never learn how to achieve happiness. How do you learn to achieve happiness if somebody else provides it for you? Like they say, give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime. That is wisdom. We all have it. And in this weird world, the strongest people are the ones that suffer the most, because we're strong enough to handle it. But we don't think that way, and we're not told that. We're told to feel sorry for ourselves. We're told to get medications or drink alcohol or just overindulge in some kind of distraction, instead of seeing how strong you are and patting yourself on the back that you can handle it, even when you think you can't. Some people just like to feel sorry for themselves because that's the only way they can get people's attention. That's why babies sometimes will cry even if they're not sad, because they know it will get a response. So you have the choice to do things the right way, the wrong way, or no way. But there are always consequences for what you choose, because it ultimately boils down to a choice. And that's why I try and explain to people, you're all Dorothy. And if you notice anything about the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy, at the end of her journey, realized that she had the power to go home all along. But if somebody would have tried to tell her that the moment she landed in the wonderful, merry old land of Oz, she would have thought they were crazy. She would not have believed it. But she had to go on her journey and have courage, heart, and brains to learn from her experience, aka wisdom, to be able to handle what was already there. And that was her own power, her own strength. And in the end, it was all just a dream. It was all an illusion. It was all a creation that seemed pretty real at the time. Well, energy can form itself in what appears to be physical by condensing energy into a solid space. Take an empty room and fill it with sand. It's going to feel very solid. You can't walk through it because your molecules are bigger than the combination of the sand molecules. But I promise you, a microbe might not even know that sand is even there. So solidity is only relevant to the size of the matter it's compared to. The reason you could sit on a chair is because your matter is more condensed or equal condensing of the matter that makes the chair. There's a reason why you can't walk through a window, but light can. Light is the same thing that makes you. There's just more of that light particle energy that creates you. So technically, the chair or the bed you're lying on, you're hovering over it because of magnetism. Because not only do magnets attract, they also repel. And the smaller the molecule, the further away the same object will appear. So if you had an electron microscope and you saw the smallest microbe you can, and you gave that smallest microbe the same kind of microscope, it wouldn't even know that the chair and the person exist because they would be galaxies apart. So distance is only relevant to size of the matter and the space in between. That's what the world is all about. So if you think about how amazing this world is, the creations that it has, and the ability that we're here for whatever reason to experience part of the infinite, that's how special you are. That infinity cannot exist if you are not part of it. And thank you for the birthday wish. I appreciate that. That was on the 9th, but I appreciate it. Most people don't get that my username, born on 11/9/70, that's actually my birthday, November 9th, 1970. But now you know. But, again, you get hurt from people because you care. Because you can handle what they cannot. And that should make you feel pretty damn proud of how strong you truly are. So don't ever say you're weak. Don't ever say it's too much. And remember, just because you absorb somebody else's negativity and their energy, whether they gave it to you or you just instinctively took it, because a magnet just attracts things whether they wanted it there or not, doesn't mean you have to keep it. You have no problem throwing out your garbage. Well, the negative energy is garbage. You can hold on to it, but your body is not infinite when it comes to storing negative. It makes you get a dis-ease. Ever wonder why you get sick when you're stressed out? It's because you're overwhelming your body with such negativity. It disrupts your normal output of electrical impulses. You become dis-eased. Ever wonder why you can get a disease? So get rid of it. Say, here, universe, I'm bringing it back to you. I was kind enough to take it off of somebody else's shoulders. You ever wonder why you have an overwhelming week and then all of a sudden something you were worried about goes away and you say, oh, it feels like 1,000 pounds was taken off my shoulders. Well, it does weigh you down. So why hold on to it? It's not a badge of honor. It's not like if you get rid of it that you haven't done anything. It just means you don't have to take on somebody else's burden for the rest of your life. Unless you need it to use excuses to justify why you refuse to do anything. Because burdens will make you feel real heavy, and it will be good justification of why you can't do the things that you have neglected to do. And most people don't want to hear that. But like I've said many times in this channel, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm not going to pander to you so I can get thousands of views. I'm going to tell you something that might help you think for yourself, do for yourself, strengthen yourself, and improve yourself. And you know how much that helps me? Who knows? You do what's best, but don't ever look at yourself as weak. Don't ever continually feel bad that people keep betraying you or backstabbing you. It's because they can't handle what you can handle, because you've taken so much of it, and you still stand. And now you know how strong you are, you'll never feel as down again. But that doesn't mean you won't feel down. It's okay. It's another emotion. It's another experience. But like a movie, you're not going to watch the same movie for the rest of your life. So why relive the same pains over and over again? Move on. Grieve. Let it go. Move on to the next thing. So that's all I wanted to say in this video, because you guys know I'll talk forever. And considering it's about 4:30 in the morning, I think it's time I get myself a little rest. And remember, even when I talk about this stuff, it helps myself as well. It helps me vent out all the stuff. You ever seen somebody vent? Well, why do you think you have a vent in a chimney? Or an exhaust pipe in your car? It's to let out the toxics, the toxicity, the waste products. Your body should be the same thing. There's a reason why there's a hole in a tea kettle. Because if you don't have that hole and you boil that water, if it has nowhere for that steam to escape, it's going to explode. You ever wonder why so many people, when they hold things in for so long, they explode? They seem to forget that they can release it. They can let it out. So when I talk about this stuff, look at the beautiful things that happen. This could potentially help a stranger that I'll never meet, who I don't know, who could be halfway around the world. And yet it's going to help me because I'm venting. I'm sharing some of my stories, some of my being with other people. And it's coming to you at the speed of light. Pass it on. Help others. The world that controls the people in this world want you to not be dependent or independent. They don't want you to think for yourselves. Because if there were nothing but free-thinking, independent people walking around this earth, they would have nobody to do the work for them. Nobody that would volunteer to go destroy other worlds or other places or murder fellow human beings. If we want real change in this world, we have to make it. We no longer accept their negativity, their old ways, their form of control, just because that's how it's been for a long time. Just because that's the way it's been doesn't mean that's the way it has to be. Just because you're used to it being a certain way does not mean it's right. And does not mean that enough people can't change the world for the better, but do it the right way. Because if you try and fight fire with fire, you're going to get burned. That's why war after war has brought nothing at best but temporary peace. Throwing money into poverty creates more debt, which creates more poverty. It's time to get out of the vicious cycle. And only you can do that. Or choose not to. But don't complain if you keep running around in circles. So that's it. That's my dose of reality, or at least my reality. And if any of it resonates with you, if you want to share it, please do. Thumbs up always help. Just keep in mind that I do have a Patreon account if you want to grab onto it and check it out, or put a little bit into helping it, because as soon as before it even gets processed, YouTube is going to flag this video as unadvertiser friendly, because they don't like truth. They don't like things that can help people think for themselves. So they're going to make it very challenging for me. But as you can see, unadvertiser friendly or not, I don't do it for the money. I do it because I care. And I know a lot of you can see that. So thanks for listening. Be good to one another. Believe in yourself. Know thyself. And start seeing the world in a better light. You're more powerful than anyone will ever tell you. And you'll learn it. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. And to all the people that left comments on the live show and that showed up, thank you so much. And Germ started out with aloha and ends with aloha. So aloha to you all. Thanks again. Have a great night.